This is Patty Bennett. I am excited you're joining me today. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I blog at pattystamps.com, and welcome to my Facebook Live today. If you are watching me on Tuesday, May 15th at 2 p.m. Pacific time, then you're here with me live. If you're watching at some other time, then you're watching a recording, which is totally fine. But I just wanted to let you know that I won't see your live comments if you're watching it later and you comment. But if you're watching live right now, 2 p.m. Pacific time on Tuesday, May 15th, then I will see your comments. So you're welcome to comment. I will try to answer some questions at the end, but I want to get to some stamping because I have some super fun projects to share with you today. We are going to be stamping with new Stampin' Up! Product and some new dies, some new stamps, some new accessories, some new little note cards. So let me show you quickly some of the things we're making. So we're going to make this today. Yes, I know the words are backwards. We're going to make that, and I'm going to make these with you, show you how I made that. Fun. And then I have a little bonus project. So I am excited. We're going to just get going and we're going to stamp and we're going to use these new products and new colors. It's going to be fun. So welcome again. If you're just joining me, this is Patty Bennett. This is a Facebook Live. You may be watching this later on my blog. You may be watching it on YouTube. You may be watching it live from on Facebook, and that's great. So I just wanted to welcome you once again, and let's start stamping. So I'm going to flip the camera down and then we're going to start our first project. So let me show you how I created this note card. So there is a new bundle, and if you want to follow along, if you have your Stampin' Up! Catalog already, on page 17, there is this bundle called Stitched All Around, and it has this set of framelits and this stamp set. And that is what I used these framelits, but I pulled in a greeting from a different set and I used this stamp from Detailed with Love. So if you're looking for the stamp that I used, it's not in this set. I used this one. And I want to show you all the fun details about how this project came together. This is a really amazing set of framelits. And I used this one right here to cut out this. And this is just very vanilla cardstock. That's all I used. And I did hear a few tips from Stampin' Up! About some of the newer intricate dies, and they recommend putting them cutting side up in your Big Shot. So when you have your piece of cardstock, you would put this on top of your clear plate, put your cardstock on top, and then run it through the Big Shot. Now, this means that you wouldn't be able to center it onto a stamped greeting, but I'm just going to stamp this afterwards. So this worked out fine for me. So if you have some of these more intricate dies, you may want to try that and put the cutting side up in your Big Shot. I found it worked perfect with my magnetic plate. And in your Big Shot, you might need a different plate. You might need a different sandwich, but that worked perfectly for me. So let's get to some stamping. And I have the greeting. So it says, "Life is sweeter with friends like you." And I also have the flowers and the leaf. So on this card, I decided to try out the new Mossy Meadow. The card base is a rich razzleberry, and I thought this was a good combo. And then I also pulled in this Share What You Love paper, which we'll look at in a minute. So this tied all of that together. So remember, with the new pads, you just open it up like that. You just simply lift. It's not, you don't have to do that push thing anymore. And then these slide. And after you slide them a couple times, they slide really nicely. And these new ink pads stamp so beautifully. I always like to just test out on my grid paper and just make sure that there wasn't a fuzz or, you know, I don't know about you, but so many times I'll find one of these little backings from my dimensionals and it'll be stuck to a stamp, and then, you know, then that kind of ruins the stamping experience. But I always just like to test it. So let's just stamp that up towards the top. Life is sweeter with friends like you. I love that. And then I have my new stamp chamois up here. This is a new product in the new catalog. You can see that it's thick, it's foamy, it's squishy. I have it wet. I just took it to my sink and I just got it wet and then just sort of squeezed it out, and I just dab and it cleans off stamps like a breeze. I love that new product. Then I'm also using Pear Pizzazz and Mossy Meadow for this leaf, and I decided just to stamp it right on this label. So I'm going to start with the lighter one. Again, I always just like to test that out. Yep, looks good. So I stamped the lighter one going off this way, and another one here, and then a Mossy Meadow one right there. Oh, and I should tell you that the leaves or the leaf and the flowers are from this Cake Soiree set, and this was in the Occasions catalog. It's carrying over into the new catalog. So I'm just using these two. Actually, I think it's this leaf and this flower. So I'm using that from this stamp set. Okay. And then for my flowers, let's show you what I did here. So I went with the vanilla, since these cards are vanilla on the back and they come with the vanilla envelopes. That's why I went with vanilla. And I actually really kind of like this combo. I think it's really nice. And I just took a piece of my vanilla cardstock and I mounted both flowers right on the same block, and I just stamped it over and over on this sheet because I made several of these. Then I wanted to show you just a little tip here. I just took a plastic, this was a wrapper from, I don't know, whatever that item is. It's probably a set of framelits. And before I toss those or recycle those, I keep them and I use them for different things. So what I did was I took my Wink of Stella and I squeezed it. Oh gosh, this one's almost done. Oh, nope, there it comes. Okay, so I squeezed it and I just brushed out a little puddle like that. And then I took my rich razzleberry pad that I stamped those flowers in, and I took a sponge dauber and I got some ink on it, and then I just mushed it around with that Wink of Stella, and I used that to give these flowers some color. And it gives, depending on how long you keep doing that, it sort of gives some lights and some darks, which I really liked. And if you want it filled in a little more, you know, you can definitely go around and get it all filled in. And then when they were all done, and I had the whole sheet done, so here's a couple that were already done, I went back right in the center and just gave it one extra dab of color. So let's just get a little extra color and just darken the center a little bit. And I just kind of liked how that looked. So that's a great thing you can do with these extra plastic sheets. You can also use your silicone mat. That's perfectly fine. I just don't like to throw these away. I like to use them for something. So that's what I decided to use it for. And then the die cuts, you could just cut those out by hand. Those aren't really too hard to cut out. But I went ahead and used the Sweet Cake die cuts. This is the framelit set that goes with that set. And I just, you can tell, I just laid them on there and cut out the flowers. So either way works. You could hand cut that, or you could go ahead and die cut them. So now we have that ready. So let's look at the card base. I wanted to show you, this is called the Delightfully Detailed Cards, Note Cards. And this is what the set looks like. So you have 4 different patterns, the Mint Macaron and the Rich Razzleberry. I'm pretty sure that's Rich Razzleberry. Let me just look in my catalog. I just want to make sure I'm saying the right thing. It's Blackberry Bliss, excuse me. So Blackberry Bliss, but it coordinates really nicely with the Rich Razzleberry. So the cards are printed like this already in the Blackberry Bliss and the Mint Macaron. So you have these 4 designs. And for this particular card, I'm using this one. Like I mentioned, they are vanilla, and on the other side, they're white. So it gives you a nice space to write. The envelopes as well come with it, and they are vanilla and then white inside. So you have that kind of mixed, mix and match. And I bent that corner. Let's get a better one here. So here's one that's not bent. And then with the Share What You Love pack of designer paper, I cut strips that were 1 inch. And instead of cutting them to the 5-inch width of the note card, I left it at 12 inches because I wanted to be able to decide where I wanted to lay this. And since I knew that this was going to cover up some of the left side, I want to make sure that some of these flowers show over here. So I'm going to use that end on here. So let me just grab my adhesive. And I'm going to put a strip of adhesive on there, lay down, sorry, it fell. Sorry about that. So lay down my piece of designer paper, and then I can just snip off the end, and I'll use this piece for another card. Before I put this label on, I did use this beautiful lace trim, and it's just called Very Vanilla Lace Trim, because I really liked just sort of the vintagey and the vanilla feel that this added to the card. So I'm just going to do a knot. You could do a bow. I'm just doing a knot, because I don't know about you, whenever you try to tie a nice bow on camera, sometimes that's tricky. So that is just that part of it. And then we're ready to put this on. And I went ahead and I just put it on flat with some snail. So right there. And then this flower, the bigger flower, I put on to cover up where those 2 leaves are. And then the smaller one, I already have a dimensional on there. And I'm going to just put it right there. And that was all there was to that card. How easy was that? I think it's really cute and sweet, and I absolutely love this die cut. So again, if you're following along and you have your new catalog, it's on page 17. And the die cut is called the Stitched Labels. I used that one right there. And then the stamp set I used is not actually part of that bundle. I grabbed this from Detailed with Love. So I just used a different greeting, but you could certainly use anything from this stamp set that goes with it. I just wanted something a little smaller so that I could fit those cute little flowers on there. Thank you. Thanks for your kind comments. I'm just looking over here at your comments. You're very sweet. I'm glad you liked that. I thought these were really fun. I really enjoyed making several of those. All right, so I'm going to get out another project to show you. And while I do that, I just want to remind you that if you are one of my customers, you should have received your catalog. Let's see, actually there might be a few people that are still getting them today and tomorrow because I mailed out the last batch yesterday. I took about 75 to 100 every day to the post office for 6 days, and now they are out. Yay! was a lot of catalogs. So if you're one of my regular customers, you should already have your copy of the catalog. And if you don't, please let me know so I can replace it, or, we can talk about where yours might be. Oh, good. Holly says she received hers. Yay! All right, so now back to those cute note cards. I wanted to show you what I did to decorate these. And if you're following along, open up your new catalog to page 129. We are going to be using the Garden Impressions Suite, and that includes, let me show you the stamp set, and there is a set of framelits that's called Springtime Impressions. So, and just a reminder, when you get them from Stampin' Up, they don't come on the magnetic sheets. I like to store mine this way from Stampin' Storage on my magnetic sheets. So it comes with this big, gorgeous corner, and then it has this beautiful butterfly and a smaller flower. So I used this today on these cards. And let me give you a few tips. Just like our other project, I found that this one worked beautifully if I put it cutting side up in my Big Shot. So I used my magnetic platform, and I used both. You can see right here, this one is Berry Burst, and this one is, did I use Fresh Fig or Blackberry Bliss? Or, oh my goodness, what? Hang on. I'll figure it out really quick here for you. I don't even know which color I used. Okay. It's Rich Razzleberry. So Rich Razzleberry and Berry Burst are the two different colors I cut it in. And it just cuts beautifully. I did run it back and forth through the Big Shot. Stampin' Up! Has recommended that we do that. You don't just go once. So I ran it through and I ran it back, and then I think I did a third time, and everything just came out beautifully with the little die brush and the foam mat. All of the little pieces just came out. There was no poking, no picking, nothing. It was amazing. So I loved how that came out. So the first one I made, I had this left over from cards that I made many months ago, and I just thought, oh, that would be cute, and I just layered that together, and so I made that. And then I thought, well, hang on, I have to use some new stamps. So I had to grab the stamp set that goes with this bundle called Abstract Impressions. And the images are actually a little bit larger than what is shown here. You can see here, this kindness changes everything that I use. You can see that's the actual size. They just shrank it so that it would fit on the cover. So I used that stamp as well as the smaller flower and the leaf. So, actually this leaf. So I used those three plus the greeting out of here. And I just thought I'd show you how I adhered this and how this went together. Oh, and also, you may have noticed here, since I was using vanilla on that other card, I thought, well, I'll use vanilla on here, again, since the other side, the back is vanilla. So I started out by doing an oval scallop with the vanilla. And then I thought, I think I'm going to punch this up a notch. And so I lightened it up and used the Berry Burst, and I used white. And I liked that. I think I kind of like this one a little better, but then this one is really nice too. So I think either one of those works. And love, this is Granny Apple Green. This is one of the new colors. So if you are a Lemon Lime Twist fan like I am, you are going to love Granny Apple Green. It's super pretty. And look at this combo, Berry Burst and Granny Apple Green. I mean, love, right? So let's stamp this oval real quick, and I'll show you what I did. So I have my greeting, and it is a photopolymer. Oh, and see, there's a fuzz. That's why I always check. Okay, got to get the fuzzes off. So it's a photopolymer set, this one is. And so I have my greeting on there on a clear block. And I started by just stamping that kind of over to the left side. There we go. Pretty. Very cute. And then I did the flower and the leaf. So this flower is a 2-step. And you know, Berry Burst is one of those inks that will stain your photopolymer. Absolutely doesn't make any difference. They work the same, so don't worry about that. I see a quick question from Ruth. She was asking, hang on, it just went by. Is my sandwich the same when I use the magnetic plate with the die cutting side up? Yes. So the exact same sandwich where you have your magnetic, let me grab it. It's right here. Just show you real quickly. So you have your magnetic platform and you would put down your clear plate, and then instead of putting your paper down and your die cutting side down, I flipped it. So you put your die down, you put your paper over it, and then you finish your sandwich with another clear plate. So it's the exact same sandwich, it's just that the paper and the die have flipped spots. And for whatever reason, wow, does that really help with the cutting? I was super impressed with that. And then I did use, if you don't have the little die brush and the foam mat, you definitely are going to want that, because it was just perfect. When this comes out, there will be some little pieces and you just roll over it. And then all of those little pieces end up on your foam mat. So I definitely recommend having that by your Big Shot station. It's wonderful. Okay, so back to the, yeah, PJ says she loves stained stamps because she can find them. I agree. Sometimes it's really good to have a stained stamp because then you don't lose it. So with the larger image, I stamped it off. And again, this is the Berry Burst. And I stamped it twice. And then I used the more detailed image. And I really don't think there's a right and wrong of where you stamp these together. And I even, on one of them, I even turned it and I stamped it again just to give it a little bit darker. So you can do whatever you want with that. And then I just used the Granny Apple Green and this leaf. The leaf is also a 2-step stamp, but I only used the one part of it. I just liked it like that. And then what I did was I took this little stamp. It's this little speckle stamp from the Waterfront set. And I decided to try this. So I just inked it with my Berry Burst. I stamped it off. And then I just gave a few little speckles kind of around part of it. I was just talking to my friend about this the other day. We were saying how sometimes white space is great, and sometimes it just sort of makes us nuts, and we have to just go fill it all in. It's just kind of funny. So it's totally up to you. If you like a lot of white space, leave it. And if you like a little extra, you know, doodad, and you like it just sort of filled in a little bit, then do that. I remember itty bitty backgrounds. Like, I thought when that retired, I would just die and I would never be able to stamp another thing in my life because we speckled everything. So that's kind of my little homage to itty bitty backgrounds there. Okay, so then layer it onto the Granny Apple Green scalloped oval. Oh, and I should have said this is the stitched shape framelit, the oval. I can't live without that. Oh my goodness, that is just, it is amazing. It's wonderful. So that is going to go here, and you could totally take your pick of layering it on the brighter one, or you could do it on the darker one. Both look great. Here's kind of the difference, the lighter one and the darker one. I think, you know what? I think I might just do, no, I like the bright one. I like the bright one. Okay, but before we put it on, you can see here that it's just a little tiny bit too big for the card. So I found that all I needed to do was take my paper snips, and I snipped off just this little thing at the top. And then right here, I went along and I cut off that much. So those two little bits got cut off, and then it fits perfect, and nobody would ever know, right? You wouldn't know that I actually trimmed it. So that worked perfect. Now, if you're smarter than me, you will remember to put your adhesive sheet on this before you die cut a whole bunch of them. I did not remember to do that. So I want to show you what I did. Knowing that this was going to cover up the center, I took my adhesive and I just laid down a bunch of adhesive right in the center because I knew that would get covered up and it would really hold this in place. You really don't need any other adhesive other than that. But I didn't like this flapping up and this end flapping up. So I just took my silicone sheet and I just lightly just did a couple tiny little dabs of my snail, and then you can just sort of run your finger under there to get off any excess. And that, take that out right there. And that really helps. You can also use your fine tip glue. You can use your multi-purpose adhesive glue. There's lots of different options as far as adhering that. But that's just what I did with it. And then some dimensionals. I don't know if I'm the only one that uses a lot of dimensionals. I know some people would put like 2 on here and be done. I like to use more. And then if you haven't seen this tip, I love using my paper piercer, and I just sort of poke and I pull up, and that pulls off these little backs. Super easy. And you don't have to use your fingernails, and you don't have to worry about them sort of not coming off. They just super easily come off. So that's all that was. Just quick, easy, cute, fun. I think it turned out cute. Do you like it? I like it. And you know, it doesn't really bother me that it's the white and the vanilla. Now, I know that's going to bother some people, but I like it. So if it bothers you, then use the vanilla so that it matches. But then when you open it, it's white. So, you know, right, whatever. So I hope you like that. Hope you like that. So again, let me just show you that the die is called Springtime Impressions. You're going to want to put this on your shopping list for June 1st. New catalog comes out on June 1st. And if you're following along right now, it's on page 129 in your new catalog. And the stamp set is called Abstract Impressions. So that's what I use to create that. Then let me just show you, I have a bonus for you. Oh, I'm glad you like the pokey tool tip. Yay! Let me just show you a little bonus project here. So I also die cut the same flower corner die that we were just working with. I also die cut it in mint macaron. And for this card, I'm going to show you what I did here. So under this flag, you can see right here, I have this part. So I just cut it with my scissors and I put it under there so that this flower would show. And then I was left with this, so I cut that part out and I put it up here. So think about different ways to use this die. I also have a few other cards that I made similar to this that use it in a different way, and I will show you those on my blog another time. And the paper that I used is the Abstract Impressions. I really like this pack. I want to show you something that I did with this sheet right here. I took that die and let me see if I can figure out, I think I put it, no. How did I do it? Now I don't know exactly where I put it. Perhaps it doesn't really matter where you put it. I used this sheet and I die cut straight out of there. And can you see in the background here how I ended up with all these multicolors out of that die? And then since this right here ended up white, I just sponged a little bit of Grapefruit Grove on there so that they wouldn't just be white flowers. But the rest of them just turned out perfect. How did I... Maybe it was right there. I bet it was somewhere about like that, because I got this flower in the orange one, the Grapefruit Grove one. So anyway, it's just to show you that this is going to be really versatile. And you can do lots of other things with it as opposed to just cutting out a piece. You could sponge different colors onto here. You could put Wink of Stella. You could lighten, you can darken, especially if you did this in white. I mean, you could sponge or color. You could use your blends, your markers. I'm just like in love with this. And then I haven't even started to use the butterfly yet, but, or did I? Maybe I did use the butterfly. I can't remember, but I think this is amazing. So that's what I had for you today. Wow, we kept it to 30 minutes. We did very well. And if you have any questions, I will go ahead and answer them right now. But I just want to remind you that if you're one of my customers, you should have your catalog. If not already, you should have it very soon. You'll be able to see all these. And if you don't work with the demonstrator already and you need a catalog, let me know. Private message me or email me at pattystamps@comcast.net. You can visit my blog at pattystamps.com, and you can shop for Stampin' Up! Products at mystamporder.com. So this is what the new catalog looks like. I can only show you the cover right now because we aren't quite yet to June 1st. But if you did not yet receive that from me, then I would be happy to send one if you don't have a demonstrator. All right, so that's what I had for you today. I am so grateful that you spent some time with me today. It's always fun to stamp with you, and I hope you have a super great rest of the week, and that you have fun making your shopping list with all of these fun new supplies. So thanks again. I will see you next time, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.